Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be using another new palette because here's the thing. If we're all being honest with each other, I've been shopping and we're going to have a plethora of new palette videos, and then we are going to use the makeup that we already own because I've spent my makeup budget for like the next 4 months. So let's all cry together and then move on. Anyway, so this is a brand that I have been wanting to try for so long. I've been so curious about it. I mean, you're gonna know what it is. I don't know why I'm being so secretive because I'm gonna put it in the title, but it's Dominique Cosmetics, and I actually purchased 2 of her palettes. I have the Rustic Glam, which is what we're going to be using today, because I just find there's something about this palette that I just have been wanting to try for so long that I think is so unique and interesting, and I'm just really excited about it. I also purchased the Berries and Cream palette, which is really beautiful, but something about the Rustic Glam palette is just really calling my name today. So we're going to do a look with that, and yeah. That's all I have to say. I'm gonna zoom you in and we can get started on the eyes. Okay, so I'm genuinely so conflicted about what to do, but I think I'm going to go more into like the blue shades in here. So I'm first going to start with the shade Dreamcatcher. It's this light blue. It does have little sparkles in it, but I'm going to just use it as a matte shade and hope that they kind of just like dust away. I generally am not the biggest fan of like matte shades with sparkle, like, you know, like little flecks of sparkle in them. I just find that it never really works the way that you want them to. I don't know, that's just my opinion, but I'm just gonna put this in my crease and kind of use it as a transition shade because it looks pretty light. It is quite dusty in the pan, like there's a lot of kickback. And I also primed my eyes using the NARS smudge proof eyeshadow base as usual, and I set my lids. And my suspicions were right. When you'd like tap your brush off and you use, well, this shade anyway, on a fluffy brush, you can't honestly see any like glitter or like shimmer particles at all. It just goes on like a matte. And this shade is really beautiful. I love the tone of this. It's like a beautiful sky blue shade. I'm gonna try to show you. I don't know if you'll be able to see or not, but there is quite a lot of like kick up in the pan in that one shade. Not something that super bothers me, but I know it bothers some people, so let that be known. Now I'm going to go into my crease with the shade Evil Eye. It's like this really pretty mid-toned blue shade, and again there is quite a bit of kick up in the pan, and these shadows are actually very pigmented. I'm actually quite surprised. And so far it's blending pretty well. Initially I wasn't sure like what I was going to do with this palette, but I feel like the more that I like stare at it and look at the colors. I just feel really inspired. And I think sometimes with palettes where the color combinations aren't super obvious, I find that is what forces me to like go out of my comfort zone and kind of experiment a little bit more. I mean, there is like a downside to that where the palette isn't necessarily like as user-friendly as, you know, others where the color combinations are a little bit more obvious. But I find that with Kristen Dominique's palettes, I'm really just inspired by her, like the colors that she chooses to put in her palettes. I find it just seems like she put a lot of thought into them, and I really appreciate that. And now I'm just going to blend out the edges of these shades with a totally clean, fluffy brush. I don't know if anyone else gets this when they do their makeup, but I feel like whenever I watch back my videos, one eye is always so off. Like I feel like I never blend my right eyeshadow like up the same way that I do my left, and it's not until I'm like watching back my videos or like looking at my makeup later in the day that I'm like, what the fuck? What was I doing? Was I not paying attention when I was like blending? And then I feel stupid. But so I'm trying to be more conscious and double check my blending when I film now. And I will try to show you again. There's just a lot of kick up with these shadows. Again, not something that bothers me. It's just something that, you know, first impressions, I'll just mention it. And so far these have blended out super smoothly, really well. I'm happy so far. So the only thing I will say about this palette is that I feel like it does lack depth. I literally cannot shut up about that, but that's like my main issue with every palette is like I just want one more deeper shade. So I'm going to use this Moonchild shade that's basically a black, but I'm going to mix it with the Evil Eye shade, the blue shade that I just used, and I'm just going to like dab into the Evil Eye shade and dab a little bit into the Moonchild shade, and hopefully create a deeper blue to go through my crease and my outer corner, just to deepen up this eyeshadow look slightly. If you are blessed with beautiful, naturally defined eye sockets and lots of lid space, I mean, maybe you won't feel the need to do this step or to like add even more depth, obviously, depending on your skin tone, but I just need a little bit more. Although I feel like that, you know, it's doing what I want it to. That is the benefit of having a black or some type of black in a palette, is that you can mix it to other shades with it to get deeper shades, which is, I always love having a black in a palette. I know some people are not fans of that, but, and I will say this is actually working out really well. I honestly didn't know how this was gonna go. And again, with the same with the Dreamcatcher shade that I used, the light blue one, this Moonchild shade also has like a ton of black blue glitter in it, which is really beautiful to look at. But I just feel like when you tap it off, all of the shimmer just completely disappears, which is good if you want to use it as a matte. But if you want like a deep sparkly black blue, I just feel like it's not gonna happen, you know? I don't think it's gonna work that way. This is the way that I generally prefer to use mattes with shimmer in them. I just use them as mattes. I'm going in with the brush that I used the Evil Eye shade on again, and just blending out that like deeper blue concoction that I used. And again, just a ton of fallout, or not fallout, but kickback. But I will say I already like have my base down, obviously, and I set it and everything with powder, and I'm not experiencing a ton of fallout on my face. So that is a plus. I'm going to jump off camera and cut my crease really quickly, and then we'll be right back. Okay, I am back. So the concealer kind of merged with the blue eyeshadow, so it's a very blue eyelid situation right now, but that's okay. I'm just going to take the blue Evil Eye shade that I used in my crease, like the second shade that I used, and just go over where I cut my crease, and then, not that it really needs it, but I'm just going to merge that onto the lid slightly where the shadow meets the concealer. And I'm going to again take a mixture of the Evil Eye and Moonchild shade and just define where, like, the edge of my concealer. And then I'm going to again take that mixture and just darken the outer corners a bit. Now I'm going to take this like greeny gold shade called Wanderlust, and I'm going to put that on my lid, and I'm going to wet that. This is just water. I always just wet my eyeshadows with water because I honestly don't feel like it makes that much of a difference whether you use like water or setting spray, if I'm being like very honest. I'm just going to take the slightest tap of Evil Eye and blend that into the Wanderlust shade. And then just to see, I'm going to take the Wanderlust shade on my finger and pat that onto my lid. And these, I haven't even swatched this palette yet. The shimmers feel, or at least this one does, like very thick. Very thick, but they're very metallic, very foiled. This shade on my lid is absolutely beautiful. I'm very impressed and very happy. And then I'm going to take a tiny tap of the Dreamcatcher shade, which is the light blue that we use at the very beginning, and just go over the edges. Now I'm going to take the shade Free Spirit. It's just a matte, like white cream. And I'm going to take a little bit of this and just put that on my brow bone, but just like in the center, like right where the arch of my brow is. That's not super highlighting on me, but if you have a skin tone other than the color of paper, that'll obviously be a highlight shade. I debated about using the green shade on my lower lash line, but I'm really feeling just doing like a blue look. Like I'm really all about the monochromatic eyeshadow. So I'm just going to take the Evil Eye shade, which, I mean, it's the shade that makes up the majority of this look. And I'm going to just run that along my lower lash line. And I'm going to take a little bit more of that and blend it out. Now I'm going to take the mixture of Evil Eye and Moonchild and add some depth to my lower lash line and put that along my lower lash line close to my lashes. And I'm going to take that same mixture and blend this out a little. And I'm going to take the Dreamcatcher shade that I use as a transition and blend the edges out. Okay, I'm super happy with how this is looking and how these shadows blended. I'm honestly like so impressed. I feel like I say that in every like trying new eyeshadow video that I do, but apparently I've been very lucky recently and I'm super happy. I mean, I only use like a handful of shades, but I love it. These are some of like the best blues that I've ever used. They're super nice. So I'm just going to hop off camera and put some lashes on and eyeliner, and I think I'll just finish up the rest of my face. Everything that I use will be in the down bar as always, and then I'm going to come back and give you my thoughts about the palette so far. Okay, hello everyone. Editing Laura here, back in action. I realized when I filmed this video that I didn't film any swatches of this palette and that I haven't been filming swatches of any of the palettes that I've been talking about, really. And I really feel like that's probably an important thing to do when talking about an eyeshadow palette, first impressions, whatever. So I filmed those swatches right now and I'm just going to insert them here, as well as close-ups of the palette. Sorry that I haven't been doing that earlier. I guess I'm just a horrible YouTuber. So yeah, I will insert these for your viewing pleasure now. Okay, so I just finished up the rest of my face. I put lashes on. I know in my last Get Ready With Me, I was like, I just like can't be bothered to put lashes on anymore. Like, I'm so over it. And I genuinely was. And then I wore lashes the other day and I was like, but they make your look so nice. I don't know. Anyway, so now I feel like a fucking hypocrite, but what else is new? So, my thoughts on this palette. I'm actually happy with it. Like I was saying before, I feel like everything I try, I'm like, oh, this is actually good. But this is actually really good. At least the shade that I tried. So I essentially only used the blue shades and then this Wanderlust shade. I thought that everything was really pigmented, that it blended out really easily. Like I talked about when I was doing my makeup, the shades that are matte, like with glitter in them. So like this light blue Dreamcatcher shade and then this Moonchild shade. If you use them with the fluffy brush and you tap off, you know, the excess, they don't really show up as shadows with glitter. They essentially perform as mattes. You know, like when I look up close at my eyes, maybe I can see a few flecks of like shimmers in there, but they're not noticeable at all. I actually set my liner with this deeper Moonchild shade and you can see some blue glitters and it's really pretty. I'm not going to show you because you will not be able to see it, but it's nothing like what it looks like in the pan, unfortunately, because it is really beautiful. I also use that on my like outer corner. So I sat that on my outer corner, like right next to my liner, and when I blended it out, the shimmers are gone. So I'm just generally not a fan of like that type of formula. However, they do work really well as mattes. They're not like dud shades. They're just not shimmery shades, in my opinion. Like, I think even if you packed these onto the lid, you wouldn't really get the same effect as, you know, you see in the pan. The metallic shade that I used was really beautiful. It was really reflective, opaque, you know, it went on really beautifully. It is a little bit thicker to the touch. It's like a thick, you know, foiled metallic shade. The one thing I will say is that these shadows are incredibly powdery. That really doesn't bother me at all. Like, it's honestly something that I just note because I know it does bother some people. However, like this, it was quite aggressive. It happened so much that even I noticed it, and I was constantly like having to blow on my palette to like get the like excess shadow off because it was just getting everywhere. I don't notice that I had any like insane fallout at all from these shades. Despite that, even though they were a little bit powdery, maybe a little bit of like shimmer fall down using the deeper Moonchild shade, but nothing that was like really noticeable. I think the way that I generally use my shadows, I don't really like pack shades on a ton, so I don't really have issues with fallout generally. But these shades are quite powdery, so if that's something that really like pisses you off, keep that in mind. Overall, I really have enjoyed this palette, and like I said before, I think the color scheme is really beautiful. Maybe the color combinations are not super obvious, but I think when you actually look at this palette and kind of start to envision looks, it's really unique and pushes me anyway out of my comfort zone, and I feel like this is a really beautiful, unique color story that really just inspires me when I see it. I'm really happy that I ended up picking this up. The packaging is also so beautiful. They're quite big palettes. Like, I don't have anything else to compare it to right now, but it's quite a substantial palette. It feels like just a really good quality palette. You have a mirror, obviously, and the pan sizes are quite big. Anyway, that wraps this video up. Hopefully it was shorter than the last one that I posted. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let's go through my recent purchases together while I sit here in shame, but you know what, it provides content for this channel, I guess. Anyway, that's what I'm telling myself. Yeah, so I will see you next time. Thank you for watching. Bye.